Good day and welcome back to my channel. So we've gotten this thing assembled, and essentially the steps we had to do to get here were pretty much the tracks and then the detail work, right? So this was really my first time doing full like link tracks. So I'm going to go through this. I know there's a bunch of people out here who've got even better tutorials, but this is how I handled it. So here we go. Essentially, you start off by just cutting them all off the sprue. Yeah, I mean, this is really what exactly it looks like. Snip each and every one, and then just start sanding. You sand them all down. Each one has a little bit of nubs on each one. You just need to put them down. I then separated the two types into two different piles. Then just start putting them together. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I run a bit of glue over them. Then comes the fun part. Essentially, once you glue it, you get this long strip, but that strip is kind of weak, right? I wanted to work with it while it was still a little bit flexible, so we could continue to do this, right? And that's why I like using the Tamiya thin, and I'm using the same technique that I've seen a lot of other armor modelers use. But what I found was the tracks just kept, or the links just kept breaking. The links just kept coming around. You can see the kinks on it and whatever. And I just had to keep fiddling until I got what I wanted. Eventually I decided, what I was going to do is just split. I'll make a top and a bottom. And then I just, whatever the track gave me as a seam or as a break that was just going to happen, I went and ran with it, right? So you can see that kink right there by the idler wheel. I had to keep fiddling with it, and I needed to wait for the top link to set before I could really smooth that out. And then I just went and I worked section by section until I got all of them to pretty much meet up. And it took some fiddling. As you can see, it's a little bit fiddly. But if you take your time and be patient, it all works out. So once I had them all in, I got the sag put in where I wanted. I went ahead and I let it sit for a bit. And then I broke them into like 2 or 3 sections. Like you can see, that's the sections that I had these broken into. So I let them all set up. And then I'm going to go back to those later. Like I said, not being able to take off the sprocket wheel make things a little more difficult. So then I also needed to go back and do the tow cables, right? And so the tow cables were pretty straightforward. But what I found was a better thing to use, or what I found to use was this black super glue. And I'll put a link to it down below. It's a rubberized super glue, which is much better for dealing with being flex, and it doesn't split as quickly or break as easily as just straight up CA. And then it was just a matter of taking those in, putting those pieces into the eyes,
and here we go.
Then hook up.
So I now have this done. I have all the pieces on, have all the parts put together. I have everything organized as I wanted to. And now it's ready for painting. So I've finished building it, and it was quite an experience. I know I did say I was only going to do one of these tow cables, but I managed to undo that glue lock on there. So I went ahead and made them both. So the these are loose because of the way they're hooked on, but hey, so fingers, right? So the way this works, right, or the way this kit went together was actually very fun and entertaining. I enjoyed the build, and it's again my first armor kit, so my first real armor build, so it was kind of new and different. I did find out as I was finishing up that these PE pieces, they actually have duplicated plastic pieces that I could have used. It didn't show up in the instructions, but it was an option. I also had the option to do a plastic gun barrel, and I tried it. I did try putting it together. I wasn't happy with it. I wanted to see if I could, and I wasn't too content with what it ended up being. So I went ahead with the metal gun barrel just so that I don't have a big seam down the center. Now you do have a mold line on the top and bottom of this slide molded muzzle brake that's on there, that so you do end up having to do that, but that's a whole lot smaller than that big long seam that goes down the middle of the gun. So I put the tracks on. I did put the tracks together. I had the video there of me working on them, and that's about as good as I can do. For this being the first try, I was content with it. There are more things to try, so I will try those in the next armor kit that I do. Now, this is, so the SU-152 is on the KV chassis. And the more I look at this, the more I'm thinking that I also have a KV2 from Trumpeter sitting over on the workbench. And I'm going to bet that the whole lower hull is the KV2, what I have for the KV2. So I may be doing this very same hull again when I put that together. So the next steps now are to figure out how to remove the tracks and wheels, because that's what I need to do. I want to let the tracks dry, because it was really, really fiddly getting them put on. And you armor guys, I'm sure you're very well aware of all that. And apparently all I have to do is touch this. And I will take this back off too, because I'm not going to glue that on yet. I'll paint that and then I'll glue it on. So take the wheels off, paint it up, or get started painting, and that will be the next video. The other thing I've decided to do is I do have a case that I can put this in. And so I cut a piece of foam core that fits that base. And as I think about what I want to do with this, right, I thought about doing like a scenic base. And I had in mind something bigger, but then I started thinking about what I have to, display and what I have to show. And I'm thinking, I already have the display case here that's this big, so I might as well just use this and, sort of do something small that would go on this. So that's the plan. That's what we're doing. This is where I am so far. And I see a couple of things I need to square up, like that, a couple of those tracks there, but that's also where the wheels are. So I can square those up. And yeah. So thank you very much for watching, and I will go ahead. The next video will be about the painting. So thanks for watching. Hope this was entertaining, useful, and until next time, happy modeling.